So hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time not that move, of course. Wait. So bishop back. This time I want to show you the game between GreKo 8.2 with the white pieces versus Komodo 13, the Monte Carlo version with the black pieces. I let them play without opening book or table bases as always, and the first move calculated by Komodo 13 was the move a5, which is probably still theory. The idea behind this is to prevent any b4 from happening, because b4 c5 is kind of the thing white wants to get in, and it also prepares knight a6 to c5, so it's probably good. The thing is a3. You cannot go there because white is on that square 2 times, you are only 1 time on that square, so it's not possible. And you prepare b4. Well, b4 you cannot take back, so a3 is kind of senseless in that position. So let's go bishop g5. Also possible is probably bishop to e3, but bishop g5, pinning the knight to the queen. So let's just continue playing. Knight there. a3 now to prepare b4, now that the rook is protected. And you cannot go there because you don't really threaten the pawn because the knight is defending it. It's true you are twice on that pawn, but this knight is pinned, so it kind of makes no sense to do that. So after bishop g5, h6, probably bishop e3 or bishop there. But if you go to e3, you can face with knight there, hunting down that bishop. So I would prefer bishop there in that position. Let's go knight here. a3. No. Not quite sure. g5, knight there, and now knight here. And there is no time for b4 because the e4 pawn is hanging. So you kind of have to prevent this. So queen here. Or if you want to keep protecting the rook, then queen there. So now you also threaten b4, kind of at least. No, you don't. So yeah, it's probably not the best way to go about it. So we had to move castles, and now knight a6 anyway, going for the c5 square. And now, okay, you could go bishop there, and after knight here you could go there, preparing also f4 and also protecting this pawn. But I would prefer, if black really goes there immediately, then you can also take this, which is kind of much better because you don't really win a pawn there because knight takes e5, and after knight takes e5 you have bishop takes there. But okay, this allows that, so it's not really better for white. Probably not, at least if you take this. But probably you can prepare that by, after bishop here you can go there and then take with the pawn, with the b pawn, if the bishop takes the arriving knight there. But okay, we have different moves. We don't have bishop e3, we have knight e1, rerouting this knight to that square so that you can exchange knight for knight, not bishop for knight, so you keep this strong bishop. So the idea is pretty clear. And you also prepare f4. So what is black's move now? Moving the knight back is what Komodo thinks, so that you can retake it with a knight if you land there. And bishop e3, knight d7. I would still go, yeah, well, f4. Pawn takes, bishop takes. Let's look at this. f4, I don't think it's a good move, just take it. It opens up this bishop's diagonal. And now I could go knight here, and the other knight can maybe come in there. And also this bishop can give a check at some point, so it's not so clear. I would prefer the move bishop to e3, and then knight there, and b6. And if you exchange everything there, then you're probably you're not able to play this kind of stuff. And the other thing what knight to d7 did was to unblock the f pawn, so black is now able to play f5, which is kind of nearly always the goal in the King's Indian, to play f5. Okay, but we have a different move. Then bishop e3, we have the move a3. Okay, now black really wants to go there, but it kind of doesn't make sense. Bishop there, pawn takes, okay, you cannot take there because after all the rook is hanging. So that's one thing to go about it. a3 stopping this, also stopping knight there and preparing this b4 thrust. So you kind of have to do something with that bishop to keep protecting this rook. But okay, let's go f4. Takes, let's say b4. Takes. Now you can't take because the rook is hanging, so probably you really don't want to take this. So just leave it there. If white pushes and attacks the knight, which is not really the goal, then you just go there. And also with those two knights, you kind of suppressed this c5 break from black. So it kind of makes sense. Also possible is maybe that move Komodo plays, probably because Komodo played it. Knight here, c5 takes, and now white can't take because this rook is also hanging. So you just take the other knight and put it there. We have knight there. Okay, bishop here, attacking this knight. f5, b4, takes, rook takes, queen takes, and now the knight has to leave the square, so knight a6 back. Can you now push f5? I don't know, because of f4. And now you're probably able to capture everything there, and you won a pawn. So this is not the goal for... You cannot go c5 immediately. Probably f6 is a good... f3 is a good move now. And still this. Bishop goes back. And now that move to really put a lock and key over this c4 break. And if ever b5 of the c5 break, then the knight comes to that square. And now also this knight can come back because you really have this square under control. And you kind of want to activate this bishop along this diagonal. This is pretty much... This is a dangerous piece in the King's Indian. So let's go back a couple of moves. We had bishop e3 now, and f5 was my suggestion. But also what Komodo is planning, a4 is probably even better, because if now b4, then you can take en passant, and you got a pawn there, so that's not possible. Also this a4, which Komodo now also played, is also giving this square to black, so there can also be a knight at some point in the game. And with this knight retreat from a couple of moves ago, as I probably mentioned before, you kind of have this what I wanted to say is if white takes here, you don't have to take with the d pawn. You can take it with a knight, so you don't have to double your pawns. But knight here is a good move. This was the reason why GreKo played the knight back, to now play it there, to prepare the c4, and to also exchange knight for knight and still double the pawns there. So that's a good move. Also, if you exchange everything there, then this pawn is hanging. So you kind of have to take it, right? And then probably queen takes. And no, not queen takes. I wouldn't play queen takes. I would play bishop takes. Because now black has problems with holding on to that pawn. What about f5 here? Knight takes. Because if you want to hold on to the pawn, then bishop takes knight, pawn takes knight, and knight takes here anyway, and it comes with an attack to this pawn. So you can't hold on to the pawn. Same stuff happens if you go knight here, then bishop just captures a knight. So you kind of have to take it, right? Knight, or you play knight b3, which is Komodo's idea. I just saw knight b3 attacking the rook. Rook only has two squares, but this is really senseless. So rook here. And now b3. Now there is really no c4. There is no c4, and black has all the times to play f5. This f5 move, so b6. Also, this bishop can come now to a6 to attack this pawn. So it's kind of good. Rook b1, knight d4. Knight d4 is what rook b1, knight d4 is what Komodo thinks. Okay, this knight has to die. So bishop takes, pawn takes. Now this knight is threatened. Hasn't got much good squares. If you go there, yeah, probably there. Also keeping an eye on this. If that knight ever leaves, for example, to here, then the queen and the knight are attacking that pawn, and only the bishop is defending it. So knight here. You cannot go c6 because then the d6 pawn is hanging. So okay, knight b4. Well, knight b4, I'm not sure, because now you can also take this pawn. So why is Komodo giving up that pawn? Knight d4, knight b5. f5 is what Komodo gives, but why not that? Why not that? Why not that? It also keeps an eye off the c4 square. So I don't get it. I wouldn't play knight d4. I would probably go f5 immediately, but or my suggestions in that position would be f5 or b6. Probably b6 because f5 can wait. You can always play that. And with b6 you also have this idea. So, but knight d4 is what Komodo is probably gonna play. Knight d4, sacrificing the a pawn. I will play that and wait for white, what white is gonna do. But okay, we have knight d4. Okay, bishop d, knight d3, knight b3, rook there, and knight d4. So knight b5 is also what GreKo gives. What about, why is this not possible? Why isn't this possible? Knight here, I don't believe it. Rook there, also don't get it. b5, no. There's simply nothing. f5, e4, no, this is not on. Okay, black has got the bishop pair, but white has a pawn. I don't really get it. Why can't you take this pawn? Knight there, going after that. Knight takes, bishop takes f4. And then you really have nothing as white. So bishop takes, e takes, and knight takes a4 is now also that what GreKo gives. Yeah, interesting. Knight there, let's say knight here. Knight takes, bishop takes, f4, bishop back. No, this just looks great for white. This just looks great for white. So bishop takes, knight takes. This will be the board position. And I really don't get it. I would still go b6 to prevent that. At least for one move. But now this is coming. Black is... I would say black is lost, but... if Komodo plays it, there must be something. Knight takes a4 and queen e8. Oh, okay, I now get it. Queen e8 is the idea. Well, I don't get the thing, but... queen e8. Okay, now if this knight moves and this knight is under attack and this knight has no squares. Oh, that's... but you can go b4. Giving the knight a square. f5, let's say. e5 is not on. Capturing. Rook takes. Yeah, let's just capture. Rook takes. Bishop g4. Bishop there. Yeah, bishop takes knight. You don't want to play with the knights, so... what's the thing? Probably rook here attacking the queen. Knight there is probably bad because of that kind of nonsense. Now the bishop is pinned. Queen takes, rook takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, rook takes, rook takes. Let's count pawns. 5 for each side. And black is a little bit more active, so maybe something like this. Maybe, but you don't have to play f5. You can just go knight there. Yeah, knight there actually immediately gets back the pawn because this is now a double attack, and you kind of have to play b4. So the knight goes back. And now you capture this pawn and you can go f5, cementing this pawn, or after this. Then there is that fork, so this is a threat there. And f5 cementing it. Also nice. Okay, first of all you have to take care of this. You don't really want to go there because of bishop there. Now x-raying. Yep, and g4 you really want to go g4, opening up the king that way. But okay, for one move this kind of does work because the bishop has to go back. Yeah, but now f5. Also what I just recognize is that the a pawn is hanging. So knight here, queen e8. The knight has no squares. And you threaten knight f6, you cannot really defend this knight, so you have to go b4 or b3. And then if the knight moves, you get back the piece, and also the a pawn here is also kind of weak, so yeah, I got it. Yeah, knight d4 is a great move. With this knight f6 to come, or rook e1, queen e8, rook e1, and knight f6. This is what Komodo gives. Rook e1, queen e8, rook e1, knight f6. But yeah, what about that knight? Isn't that knight just lost now? It can't go anywhere. This c3 square is covered by the pawn. This pawn is attacked. Yeah, but maybe this one. But takes. It kind of makes no sense because you can just take it. So this is not on. Well, at least now you get a square for the knight. Okay, maybe that's the idea. And after b3, knight needs to hovel back, and then you can push also that pawn, which is, yeah, where is this knight going now? Knight there, g4, knight there, so probably knight here. Now this pawn is kind of under threat, but you have this square and that square for this knight, so probably knight goes back to go there. Also this pawn is now defended because it was attacked from the queen, so maybe something like this is the idea, but from white. But we had different move. Oh, now I see. Rook e1, you can always go b3, you don't have to go b4, you can defend the knight. So after that you can go b3, defending the knight. Knight f6, v4, e5. e5 you can just take it. Knight on the rim is dim, as they say, but this knight is good. That one here on d3. Okay, knight f6. What's now the idea? How to get back the pawn? Knight f6. Where is the plan? Knight f6, b3. That's the thing, and then yeah, knight takes e4 anyway. But this, okay, you can go f5. This is how you get back the pawn with f5. That case, also this bishop can come here. Maybe you can push g5, g4 and go there with the queen to threaten mate. At least this would be my plan. So rook there. Bishop can't use any of this squares, and if it goes there, then the knight is not pinned anymore. So, okay, knight b. What is this knight doing? Okay, grab the pawn, but you kind of gave up a central pawn for a flank pawn. This is not that great. Knight here, but you kind of prepare c4. c4. Pawn takes c4. I wouldn't play pawn takes c4, I would just leave it, because a knight here would be much more dangerous. So c4, let's say. c4, g5. Let's go about it. You don't really want to capture here, at least not now anyway, because now this g5 has taken away this f4 square. No, this f4 square wasn't available before anyway. If you take now, takes, the rook is defending this square right here, so the knight has to move somewhere, probably here. But then you have this two very nice little pawns, very nice little pawns there. Yeah, black is fine here. I like black's position there. So let's see how Komodo continues that. So, but here giving up the pawn was a nice thing. Knight takes. The idea is queen e8, because this knight has no squares and it's attacking this pawn, so that's why defending. But now knight here, attacking that pawn a second time, and also the knight here. But this is not the end of it. This is not the end of it. The point is, after b3 you take this, and after rook e1, for example, you play f5, and there is no f3 because the bishop is standing there. But what I wanted to ask is, knight takes, queen e8. What about f6 in that position? Knight here, and then b3. Why not f6 in that position? Why not f6 in that position? And probably then this wouldn't f3, I mean. Probably then f5 would be a move. And if you take it, then rook takes. I don't get it. Okay, queen e8, f3, knight f6, b3. This knight is very good there. This knight is very good there, and you kind of have a pawn as white. This could be an idea. Not sure. Not sure why this is not working. What else is there in the position? Knight d4. Going after that pawn on c4 and also after the knight, so you have to go b3. And now what? Okay, you can go there. Can also maybe sacrifice the exchange there. Pawn take, rook takes, pawn takes, and knight takes here with the monster knight arriving there. This pawn is defended by the bishop, so there is no threat, and the knight comes here with a fork king idea. So let's say rook there to defend at least on the second rank, knight here, and then let's say queen there trying to go here, and then you can go after that pawn, which is kind of again not easy to hold. The knight has to hover back, so maybe something like this. You have compensation for the pawn and the rook, but if it's enough, I don't know. So okay, but anyway, we had knight d4, bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, and then queen e8, and we had the move bishop f3, knight f6, b3, knight takes rook there, and f5, and now the queen went to c2. Okay, this is the current board position. Yeah, the knight doesn't want to go there because then this is happening. So bishop there, going after the knight. Knight moves back, only square, and then knight here attacking the rook. No, it doesn't work because the queen is under threat due to this rook there attacking the queen. So you cannot move this knight. See, so yeah, this, yeah, but then that pawn is hanging. It's not easy. It's not easy for white to find any moves. Also, this knight from there is covering that square here on c5. But anyway, queen c2, and now it's black's move. b6. This also prepares this one more time. So b3. c4 is not working. b4, c5 is not working because after b4 this knight wouldn't be defended anymore. So I will prevail with my plan then. What is actually white's plan? White has to try and go c4 maybe, and then this pawn is hanging again. So let's try and do that. Also goes out of a possible attack at some point from the knight if it lands here on c3. Okay, that move prepares that. So let's say h6. So let's say h6, and this rook is also defending this pawn, so this knight can move. So h6. This one anyway takes. You cannot take that, unfortunately. So you cannot do g5. Kind of have to go h5. But this is kind of a dream position every King's Indian player wants to have. Not even a pawn down, and there is no break on the queen side, and you kind of get this. Okay, we have moves. We had a move, so queen c2, b6, rook be1, and then I think, if I see it correctly, this was the move. Yeah, it's a nice little move. It prepares to double, and there is no fork because the queen here would hang. I'll still go there, and after this I would go there. So okay, g5. Let's say rook there. No, g5 is not possible after that. But no, you can't go there because the queen is also eyeing that pawn from here. So very nicely played from GreKo. Yeah, the problem is this pin. This pin along the e file is a problem. So we had this bishop there attacking this knight. If this knight moves, then the a pawn would hang. And now the knight is attacked a lot of times. But okay, let's just double. Bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes. And now if that, then that. And now you can safely take this. But all in all, you are in this end game. The knight is hanging. Hasn't got many squares. It could go there, which is great, of course. Rook here. Trying to meet knight d3 with rook takes there. But that's not how stupid GreKo is. GreKo would go there. And then after rook takes, you can't take with the rook because then the knight would hang, so you have to take with the knight. But then b3. Wow. This square is covered. That square is covered. It doesn't make sense if you go there than this and the pawn is queening. So the endgame, this pawn is a very strong asset. So kind of can't go there. But where else to go? Knight here. The knight is attacked, so you'd have to move it. Pawn there, you cannot go behind the pawn because the bishop is covering that square, and you cannot prevent queening. So something went wrong here for white somewhere. Okay. Queen takes, rook takes. Bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, attacking the knight. Knight f4. Rook there. Knight there is not possible. What was my move? Rook e2, but this is losing due to that. So you can't go there. You could go there, block the pawn, defend that. Rook takes, knight takes. Rook takes. No, this does not work. Yeah, this, I'm not sure. Probably black is still a little bit better, but no, not much. You have 4 and 2. Yeah, black is up a pawn. Yeah, it won the a pawn. So bishop takes pawn. Bishop takes knight. Of course, you can also go there. Bishop takes there, attacking the queen. Bishop takes there. Bishop takes there. Rook takes there. Rook takes there. Now you have to take this. Take that. And again, there is a problem. The bishop has to defend the knight. The knight has to defend the back rank. So this doesn't work. So you kind of have to take this bishop. Pawn takes, rook takes, and queen there, trying to exchange queens. But here it's 6 versus 6, so it's probably not so bad, this kind of endgame. Yeah, bishop takes knight is also what I suggested. Bishop takes b3 is now the move. And we could have this position. The other option is probably queen there. So now this knight is unable to move because of f2, but you can go f3. Not a big deal. I don't see why black should be so much better there. I think the worst is over for white. Bishop takes, bishop takes e4, bishop takes there. Now you have to take queen takes b3, f takes e4, rook takes e4. What's the thing here? You have to move the queen, right? You have to move the queen. So I would simply move it to here. And after that, you don't want to lose the A pawn, but you're gonna lose it. So white cannot change queens. Yeah, white is losing a pawn there. That's why black is much better here. So this knight d4 was a great move, actually. Knight d4 in that position. This. So let's recap this. I think the game is over now. Let's see both evaluations right around here. Komodo thinks it's close to winning for black. Also GreKo thinks it's close to winning for black. So it should be close to winning because this A pawn here is this A pawn here you see there is kind of weak. So, but the thing is knight e1, knight there, bishop e3, no, not a, yeah, a3 we had, a3, knight ac5, bishop e3, a4, knight d3, knight b3, rook b1, and now knight d4, bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, queen e8, a strong move, I have to say that. And now f3, I would have chosen that, but I'm not sure. f5 is kind of a dangerous way to go about it, still attacking this pawn. And if takes, and you have this check. In between move, the king goes there, and then you can take rook takes. But still queen, no queen there, hangs the bishop, so let's see, queen c2, b3, let's insert those two moves. Oh, the other thing is, if b takes, queen there, check, queen there, check, yeah, and now you don't take the pawn, you take the knight, and if queen takes knight, then you take the bishop, and you get two things. But okay, black gets another pawn. No, he doesn't, because the knight is also hanging. So knight takes bishop, so now you have to do something with the knight. Knight there, most probably attacking the queen, trying to go there. Counter-attacking black's queen and also the pawn. So knight takes, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. And how is this position? 2, 4, 5 versus 7 pawns. It shouldn't be that terrible for white, but it's a slightly open position. Yeah, this is exactly what I had analyzed, which you see there with this queen over here, and now you cannot really defend the A pawn or change queens, so it should be really better for black. But what's interesting is this f3, this f3, f5. This is the interesting thing. You don't have to take, you kind of have to, because pawn takes. Okay, you can't go knight here. Okay, that's true. Knight there, takes, knight takes. Attacking the knight, so you have to go b3, and now takes, let's see, how is that position? Not quite sure. There's a bishop coming here, bishop. What's the pawn count? 6 versus 6, so again black got the pawn back. So f5, if you're greedy and you want to keep the pawn, then you have to do that. Check, putting the king in the corner as a Slight in between move, taking there. Knight f5. Queen there is also an option. But then the knight comes in here, so don't really like to like a look at that. So queen b. So okay, knight there, knight there. Where can the queen go? Let's say queen b3. Now this queen is still under attack. Let's say it goes there. Knight goes here. Takes, takes. Okay, wait. If the queen goes back to b3, for example, then takes, takes, takes. Knight there, takes, takes. Okay, black has a dangerous e-pawn, but white has a dangerous e-pawn, but black has a dangerous d-pawn. And the pawn count is 6 versus 7. Shouldn't be that bad. Oh, but there is a fork. Again. Wow. So, it's not so good. Actually, okay, if this is all knight here, queen b3 is not working. So let's say you want to exchange queens there. So queen takes queen. If it takes rook takes, knight takes, and this pawn is hanging. So after knight okay, the other thing is also this fork there. So this rook has to take it. Then knight takes here, knight there, taking the knight, pawn takes, knight here attacking the rook. Six versus 4. Yeah, the game is over according to Komodo. But f3 was a different try, I think. So okay, knight b3. Let's see, if the knight takes the queen, then the knight takes the queen. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. 5 versus 7. Bishop here is coming, attacking the rook, we're winning the b pawn. So let's say you go there, attacking the knight. I don't know. I really don't. Bishop here is coming. Yeah, the bishop pair in this position is, I think it's a lot. So, but I think that was the best chance. Instead of, after queen e8, f3 was the best chance for white. And f5 is, I think, the way to go here. Knight f2 loses a pawn, e takes f5 is the way to go there, I think. This check, and then rook takes a4, queen takes a4, and queen takes there. And then knight f4, it all seems pretty logical. Knight there. Is there a different move than knight b3? Okay, knight f4, knight b3. Is there a different move? I don't think there is. Let's say queen here, knight there, attacking the rook and the bishop. So let's say the rook moves somewhere, and knight takes there, pawn takes there, and if you take there, then taking that with the rook, knight is coming to c5. Again, you have two pieces for rook, but it's not a bishop pair anymore, and the queen can come back, and now you have to defend the bishop. Okay, you can defend it that way. So this, so that you cannot take that pawn. Rook here, threatening mate. Pawn there, taking here, unpinning. But then this pawn is hanging and the knight is falling. Well, actually, after this, that taking the knight, you have bishop takes h3. And after you take there, then this is going to be mate. It doesn't matter where the king goes, to g2 or g1. In the position we have on the board, it's 5 versus 6 pawns, bishop versus knight. Should be winning for black, but I'm interested in this f3 idea. So knight f4. My suggestion would be knight b6 here, just counter-attacking the queen. Queen d1 takes. Now you have to take with the right rook, and this is that one, because losing that pawn. No, you don't take this one. You take that, attacking the rook, and after this you go after the b pawn, and if this then that, going after the rook. So rook there, let's say. Then you can go d6. Those bishops are just monstrous, threatening that, so it's not clear. So takes knight f4, knight b6, knight takes e2, knight takes there, pawn takes there, pawn takes there, b3, a6, takes, bishop there, and now rook there. The other option is bishop f4, which is probably more accurate. You cannot go there. You cannot go there, you cannot go there. You don't really want to capture that pawn, because bishop here, and if you're really greedy and defend both pawns, then this wins material. So okay, you can take yet another pawn, but this one is just crushing. Now you have to give up the rook for the pawn, because if moving, then it doesn't matter. You have to give up this for that. But okay, there, let's say it takes, does that, bishop here. If rook there to prevent, no, it's lost, it's 2 pieces, and you also have a pawn. So if this, and you take, you kind of have to take it back. But this, in this open position, the bishop pair is just too much to bear with. So it's a hard position for white to be in. White probably shouldn't have taken after knight b3, rook b1, this knight d4. You cannot take this pawn and take on a5. It's just not possible. And it should be over soon, the game. I didn't really follow the game anymore because rook there is good move. So bishop takes, yeah, but this queen e8. f3 would be my move, but after f5, and he takes f5, check, rook takes a4, queen takes a4, and queen takes there, knight f4. Is there anything else in knight f4? Knight here disconnects the rook, then this rook would hang, so knight there is not possible because that rook would hang, because the connection of the rooks wouldn't be there anymore. What else? Knight here is, I think, pretty bad because of that. Okay, you could go here, but then you have to face with that. And if the counter attack, then b4 also attacks the rook. So b4 is not possible here. You have to move the knight. Let's see, knight there. And then you can take this, and if this is an exchange, rook takes, let's say, b4. Where's this knight actually going? To a4, to there. Okay, knight here. Yeah, this bishop is a monster. This knight is good. 2 pieces for a rook. Okay. Okay. I learned something from this game. This knight d4 is not so stupid. I would have done something else. I've done knight b3, rook there. Knight d4. I would have gone for the plan b6, f5, but knight d4 is it's a great move, and it's a great square for the knight. Yeah, it was a nice game, but this f3, I will knight d4, bishop takes, knight takes, queen e8. This f3 I will investigate later. King d6, and let's close that and make this bigger and do that. No, you don't need it. We don't need it that big. This is enough, and that. So we have both evaluations here. Black is of course completely winning. The Monte Carlo version of Komodo 13.01. Rook there. Black is also so much more active. The king is much more active, so it's probably pretty bad now. But I'm really interested in how to win if f3 would have been played, but it wasn't. So yeah, this endgame is of course bad for white. Never even got the chance of playing c5, which is probably the main plan in this line of the King's Indian defense and the Petrosian system. But okay, this is not dead. Completely dead. Bishop there attacking the rook. Bishop h6. Where is the rook actually going? It has one square, but then the pawn advances. I think the rook is dead. f4, it doesn't help you. Oh, rook is now dead. Rook c2, just push the pawn. Just push the pawn, exchange rooks, and then you got a good pawn on e7. Rook a1 is also an option. Yeah, rook a1. Rook a1 is also an option. Rook a1, yeah, this is fine. Rook b2 capturing everything, and you are up. Well, what is it? 4, 5, 6 versus 5 pawns. You're up a pawn. You have the better pieces. No, you don't exchange. Rook b2, because rook b1 is threatened, so rook b2 has to be played. Rook takes b2, knight takes b2, and knight a3. What, knight a3? No. Yeah, somewhere at least. I mean knight d3 blocking the pawn. This is... But the king is just so active. Oh, attacking the knight that way. That's cool. And now the knight can't reach that square. Where's the knight actually going? The knight is done. Has no squares. And you can't defend it. You could. King e2. King e2 is the move. King e2. Yeah, king e2. King e2, rook a3. King e2, rook da3. What's the idea of that? Yeah, only move. You have to protect the knight. Rook a3. Komodo is on -5 now. So rook a3. King f1. Why? Pin. Rook a2. Rook takes check. king goes to d3. What's the problem? Of course, king f1. Oh, d3 is the threat now. d3 and d2. If the blockading knight on d3, it wouldn't be... It's a bad position, but wouldn't be that bad. So king f1, rook c1, rook a1, c1. Oh, you double on the first rank now. Paw. That's crazy. That's simply... Yeah, that's bad for white. That's bad for white. It's over, what can I say? And it will go till the bitter end. Okay, d3 instead of rook a1. It's better. Also, this king can now come into the game. Or, well, it is in the game, but it can come more easily. But now the knight can move somewhere. Now the knight can move somewhere. Okay, can't move there, and if it moves there, it's probably also dead. First you exchange rooks, yeah. Bishop f4, what? Okay, you don't have to exchange rooks. I would take this knight, then, yeah. Pawn takes. Yeah, pawn takes has to be played because the rook is pinned. This rook endgame, yeah, okay. Probably you can sometimes hold rook endgames if you're a pawn down, but in that case, with this far advanced d-pawn and the king can approach it that easily and help out, it's not possible to hold that position. It's just, there are now so many ways to win this for black. It's completely done. Takes. King e5 and king e4, and then yeah, what can I say? Rook bf2. Yeah, what else to do in that position? Rook takes rook. Oh, you can now exchange everything and win by playing d2. Oh, wow. And then queen, rook a1 check, king d2. Rook b1 check, king e1. Rook takes f2. King takes f2, d2. And then the king just goes up the board. And then yeah, the king and pawn endgame is of course lost. Because at some point white has to move the king and then the d-pawn would hang, so it's over. It's now really definitely busted for white. Yeah, the king and pawn endgame is probably lost. King e4 even, immediately. It doesn't matter, it's the same position. King e4, rook f3 defending the pawn. Rook a1, king d2, rook a2 check, and then you push. And then you push. Oh, king d2. defending the pawn that way. G5 stopping, or yeah, why not just exchange? This is the position I meant before. King has to go to E2, then exchange rooks, and at some point white has to move its king. And now rook takes D2, king takes rook takes F2, king takes F2, G5. Definitely it's over now. You can also win by just pushing the pawn. Then you get white gets, this is probably the easiest way, just pushing the pawn to D1 queen and then take the E pawn and then gobble up all the queenside pawns. This is probably the easiest way to do it, but putting white into Zugzwang is also an option. But I think it will be soon resigner. I would just push the pawn. D2, T1, take the E pawn, and go after the queenside pawns. You're much faster. But this is also possible and winning, because white can't do anything. G3, H3, white can't do anything. And white is also down a pawn. G4, H6. I only have one question. F3 was, I think, a better option for white than what was played in the game. G4, B5. Why exactly B5? No, H6, yeah, I guess. H6, H3. H6, H3. Just recognize black king. It can go back. King E5, no, D2. Yeah, D2, D1, B5. Oh, B5 and taking the D5 pawn. Okay. Okay. That's nice. That's also nice. A nice winning idea. B5 for the D5. Okay, those kind of little trickeries I have to learn and see in my own games. In those kind of positions, or in other kind of positions, but yeah. Okay, GreKo resigned finally. And the thing is, what I want to see is in that position. I want to see if this has ever been played before. This position has never been reached. This has never been reached. Knight F to D7. Knight C5 immediately was played before. Knight E1 is actually the second most played move after Bishop G5. Knight E1, Knight D7. And now we had A3, which is probably not good. Knight E1, D3 immediately was better. Queen E8, and this is the continuation. F5, F3, Queen D8. What, why Queen D8? Okay, Knight C5. Let's go with that. B3, bishop there, rook there, B6, A3, knight takes knight, knight takes knight, knight C5, bishop back, F4. Yeah, this is the thing. this is then a rook takes b4, rook takes b4, queen takes, c takes, and here the game analysis is over. But after all, it's equal on pawns. White has a better bishop, so white is probably the one with the upper hand in that position. Let's ask Komodo. Now with much more stuff, table, memory, own book, use LMR, use sides of, small sides of. No, in that case you can use everything instead of, but not your own book. It doesn't matter the book. So use MCTS Explore. So, and give it this. So in that position, white is probably better. Yeah, white is better. C takes b6. White is better. But okay, this was not the game. In the game we had to move a3, which was a new move in that position, and probably not a good one, because before there was only knight ed3 played, live book, knight ed3 and bishop e3. But here we have a3. Okay, a3, knight c5, bishop e6, a4. But what the thing was, knight takes, queen, bishop f3. Is Komodo giving in that position? Bishop f3 or rook e1 with a much better position for black. A much better position for black. What about f2 to 3? I suggest f5 in that position. Knight e5 or bishop h6. Okay, let's no, f5. Now it gives f5 my move. Okay, f5. My idea was capturing the pawn. b3. Okay, at some point b3 has to be played. E takes f5. We follow my line. E takes f5. Queen e3 check, and rook takes a4. Yeah, queen e3 check, and then rook takes a4. Rook takes a4. What's the thing there? Of course you have to take queen, f takes g6. No, queen takes a4 is the main line. Now you take the bishop. Queen takes e2, and knight f4 was my line. Queen b3. Queen b3, defending the knight. Okay, this is possible. What about knight f4? Knight b6 was my move. Yeah, knight b6. Knight b6. We following my line. Queen a5. And knight takes e2. It's anyway. It's not good for white. Then queen e7. b3. Bishop takes f5. Because the c-pawn was hanging. Okay, this is one way to go about it. 3 queen a5. What about knight takes there? Queen takes there, of course, and now what? b3, attacking the knight. Bishop takes f5. Still, what about taking the knight there? Rook takes. Rook takes. No, not this, not that. In that position, bishop takes b1. Okay, I don't really want to do it with Komodo. In that case, Komodo is pretty slow. So let's ask Stockfish. Okay, we had f3, f5 takes, Rook takes a4, queen e3. And now rook takes a4, queen takes b2. Knight f4, knight b6. Knight takes there, knight takes a4, b3. Bishop there, it's not the best move. Knight c3 is better. Knight takes c3, d takes c3. This one. Okay, I will grab that pawn. Why not grab a pawn? Bishop f5. Okay, grab yet another pawn. All the pawns are gone now. Bishop takes h7 or rook e1. Pushing the pawn. Rook there. Rook there, rook there, rook there, rook there. Bishop there attacking the rook. Rook there, rook there. Bishop back. Okay, after all, you cannot defend this anymore. I don't know. You have two bishops, but yeah, two bishops are better than four pawns. You can't argue with that. Okay, but it's interesting. f3 is an interesting option. f5 is a refutation from it, but you have to play it carefully. Okay, you kind of see that. Yeah, till here you kind of can guess it, but then it gets complicated because there are many lines. You can go queen b3, you can go queen e1, and you can go knight f4. So there you have three options to calculate, and these are probably the three main options. Yeah. What's next? Queen b d1. You can also put some rook there. This is also possible, but it's probably not that good. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.